Right now, your bird is sending out distress signals in a language you can see but completely misunderstand. And the unsettling part isn't that these signals are hard to read. It's that most owners look directly at them every single day and think it means they're calm. Picture your living room for a second. Mid-afternoon light, the kind of quiet that just feels comfortable. Your bird is sitting on its perch, completely still, not calling, not moving, feathers smooth, posture upright, eyes wide open. To almost anyone who has ever kept a bird, that image reads as contentment. A resting animal. A peaceful moment. But here's the part nobody tells you. That stillness, that specific, total stillness actually has a name. In avian behavioral science, it's called tonic immobility. And it isn't rest. It's a freeze response. It's the exact same neurological mechanism that causes prey animals to lock up their muscles when a predator gets close enough that moving becomes way more dangerous than staying still. Your bird isn't keyskull. They're calculating. And the fact that nothing in the room has changed, that you're sitting in the same chair, the TV is on at the same volume, the light through the window is just ordinary afternoon light tells you something really important about where that danger signal is coming from. It's coming from inside the environment you built for them. But here's where it gets strange. Even after you know what to look for, the early signals are almost impossibly small. I'm not talking about the dramatic stuff, the obvious feather plucking, the screaming, the aggression that forces you to realize something is wrong. Those are late signals. That's what happens after the subtle clues have been ignored for weeks, maybe even months. The early signals actually look like this. A slight tightening of the feathers right around the eye socket, not a full puff, not a visible fluff, just a millimeter of compression that alters the shape of their face almost imperceptibly, or a blinking rhythm that speeds up. See, birds in a calm state blink slowly, sometimes incompletely. But birds in a low-grade threat assessment blink faster and with more deliberate. Closure the eye is checking, resetting, scanning again. Or maybe a weight shift, one foot then the other. Not the comfortable rocking of a bird at ease, but a specific transfer of weight toward the side that puts just a bit more distance between their body and whatever just moved across the room. These aren't personality quirks. They're not unique to your bird either. They're ancient, hardwired threat responses operating right below the threshold of what most human observers are trained to notice. Mostly because most human observers weren't trained at all. And this is where it gets interesting, because the question isn't just why your bird is doing these things. The question is what exactly are they responding to? Honestly, this is the part that changes how you see your entire home. A bird's brain is constantly running an environmental audit. Every single shadow that moves across a wall, every high-frequency hum from a refrigerator or a heating system, every time a piece of furniture that was in one position yesterday is shifted slightly today, every time the light quality changes in a way that, to the avian eye which sees into the ultraviolet spectrum and processes visual information at nearly double the frame rate of a human, suggests a shape in the periphery that wasn't there before. Your living room is not a neutral space to your bird. It's a landscape full of potential predator cues that they are constantly filtering, assessing, and trying to process. The ceiling fan? To a bird, that's just a raptor silhouette slowly rotating overhead. The reflection on your TV screen is a silent rival territory holder that appears and vanishes out of nowhere. Even a new lamp placed in the wrong spot creates a shadow that completely breaks the sightline they'd finally established as safe. They aren't being irrational. They're just being exactly what they evolved to be, a prey animal, with a survival brain trapped inside a human sensory environment and told implicitly to just relax. Think about this for a second. When a bird starts over-preening, most owners just assume it's boredom, or maybe a skin irritation, or just a weird quirk of that particular bird's personality, but it goes way deeper than that. Over-preening, and the worst version, where they actually start destroying their feathers, is what scientists call a displacement activity. Basically, it's what happens when the brain gets caught in a loop of threat response but has absolutely no way to act on it. See, in the wild, stress has an ending. You run away, you fight, or the predator leaves and the cortisol clears out. But in a cage, in an apartment, that threat response triggers and then it has nowhere to go. So the brain defaults to the one thing it can control, grooming, and it just runs that program past the point of function, past cleanliness, past comfort, right past the structural integrity of the feather itself. When a bird pulls its own feathers out, it isn't misbehaving. It's trying to interrupt a psychological loop that it has no other way to escape. It's using a sensation it can control to override an internal state it can't. That's not a behavior problem. That is a system in pure distress, communicating in the only language it has left. And the longer it goes unanswered, the deeper that pattern gets locked in. But now, let's flip this completely. Up until now, you've probably been thinking about your bird's stress as something that starts inside the bird itself. But here's the part that reframes everything. Birds that live close to humans, especially highly social ones like parrots, cockatiels, and crows, develop a form of emotional mirroring that is actually physiologically documented. Their cortisol levels, their stress hormones, literally track with their owner's cortisol levels. Their voices even shift in frequency and urgency based on the stress in a human voice. Even if that human isn't even talking to them, they're not just watching you, they're absorbing you. Which means on those mornings when you're running late, rushing through the apartment, your voice tight on a phone call, your energy all jagged and stressed, your bird is just sitting in that emotional field, soaking it all in. Not consciously. They don't know what a deadline is or what a difficult conversation means. But the biochemistry doesn't care about understanding, it just cares about proximity. To your bird, you are a massive environmental variable. You're basically a climate system. And when your climate gets stormy, their nervous system responds to it, whether a single thing in their actual cage has changed or not. And this is where things really change, because we haven't even touched on what happens over the long haul. See, short-term stress, birds can bounce back from that. The cortisol clears out, their behavior resets, and if the environment stays stable, they'll recalibrate just fine. But chronic, low-grade stress is different. It's that constant feeling that something isn't quite right, a threat that never actually goes away. That does something irreversible. It actually rewires their brain. When a bird's cortisol stays high for too long, it can actually shrink the hippocampus. That's the part of the brain that handles spatial memory and learning songs. So a bird under constant stress is literally losing cognitive territory. Their songs get simpler. Their ability to solve problems starts to narrow. They even stop being as social. And honestly, their lifespan just gets shorter. It's not some dramatic, sudden thing. It's incremental. It's invisible. It happens over years. Maybe a bird that should have lived 15 years only makes it to 12. That difference is spread across so many tiny compromises that you can't even point to a single moment as the cause. This is the real cost of those missed distress signals. It's not just a bad day. It's a shorter life. So, here's the shift. This is where all of this becomes practical. You have to stop thinking of your home as just a human apartment where a bird happens to live. You have to start seeing it as a landscape and acoustic and visual space that you are actively designing for a prey animal with extreme sensitivity. What does that actually look like? Well, for one, line of sight matters way more than you might think. If a bird is perched with its back to an open room, it's going to feel a constant, low-grade sense of threat. You want to put perches against walls, in corners, or up high. In the wild, that configuration means safety. It means they can see a predator coming from as far away as possible. Then there's the light. Birds regulate their whole bodies through photoperiods, basically just the ratio of light to dark in a day. If room stays lit at weird, unpredictable hours, it messes with their hormones. It leads to behavioral issues. Honestly, just having a simple, consistent light schedule dimming things gradually in the evening, no sudden lights out, will do more to lower their anxiety than almost anything else. And finally, routine is medicine. I think predictability is the most underrated tool we have. The same sounds at the same times. The same morning sequence. It's not because birds are boring or rigid. It's because a brain that can predict its environment is a brain that can finally stop being on high alert. When the world around them finally makes sense, that survival brain, it finally gets to rest. And that's exactly where I want to leave you. You didn't just bring a pet into your house. You brought a wild consciousness into your home, something shaped by millions of years of living right on the edge. It's wired to read every shadow, track every single sound, and survive in a world that looks absolutely nothing like your living room. And yet, you asked it to trust you. And honestly, In most cases, it actually does. Quietly, persistently, with this incredible level of perceptiveness that most of us just completely take for granted. Your bird has already mapped your face, you know? It's already logged your daily routines. It's even built a model of your emotional states that's so precise, it can probably predict your mood just from the sound of your footsteps. The only real question left is whether you're paying that same quality of attention back to them. Because those signals are there. They've been there the whole time. They're small, they're layered, and they're spoken in a language that isn't loud enough to demand your attention. It's just patient enough to wait until you finally learn how to hear it. So, let me know. Has your bird ever gone quiet in a way that just felt different to you? A stillness that, looking back now, maybe wasn't peace at all? Leave a comment below. I think you'll find you definitely weren't the only one who missed it.